Hello YouTube, welcome back to the Jonah channel. This is day 11 of the Mark series, and with that being said, we're in chapter 11, and this chapter is a very important chapter as it is where Jesus finally foretells of himself being the king, and he finally tells what kind of king he is. This is an important chapter, and I can't wait to dive into it with you guys. Alright, so this one's actually going to be in a little bit of a different order than the last few that I've done. So usually in these videos I go by section, by story, and then I do a little deep dive. This one's a little bit different. We're going to do, just because some of these kind of go into each other. So read with me at section 1. This is verse 1 through verse 11. Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. When they were approaching Jerusalem at Bethphage and Bethany, near Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and immediately as you enter it, you will find tied there a colt that has never been ridden. Untie it and bring it. If anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' just say this, 'The Lord needs it, and will send it back here immediately.'" They went away and found a colt tied near a door, outside in the street. As they were untying it, some of the bystanders said to them, "What are you doing, untying the colt?" They told them what had said, and allowed them to take it. Then they brought the colt to Jesus and threw their cloaks on it, and he sat on it. Many people spread their cloaks on the road, and others spread leafy branches that they had cut in the fields. Then those who went ahead and those who followed were shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the kingdom of our ancestor David. Hosanna in the highest heaven." Then he entered Jerusalem and went into the temple, and when he had looked around at everything, as it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. Jesus doesn't just happen to ride in on a donkey, but he arranges it. "You will find a colt tied. Bring it to me." This is initial fulfillment of Zechariah 9:9. "See, your king comes to you, humble and riding on a donkey." In that prophecy, Jesus, in that prophecy, it separates what a horse is and a colt and a donkey. A horse is used for war. It is used for harsh and war and aggressive. It has aggression behind it, whereas a donkey is peaceful. It has no means in a war area. It comes with storage. It holds stuff for travelers. So Jesus is shouting without words, "Yes, I am the king. No, I'm not the kind of king you expect." Israel expected a military messiah to overthrow Rome, and yet Jesus arrives like a peaceful servant king. People throw their cloaks down. That's not random excitement. In the Old Testament, people spread cloaks when Jehu was declared king. This is a royal gesture. They are basically saying, "We submit to this king." They shout, "Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord." This comes from Psalms, chapter 118, a psalm used during Passover. Hosanna originally means "save us now." So this crowd is saying, "Save us, King." But again, they likely mean save us from Rome, restore national power. Jesus is coming to save us from sin and death, not politics. They were expecting a king to overthrow Rome, but yet Jesus comes to overthrow sin and to overthrow death. A different kind of king that they worship, that they are put under. The next section is Jesus curses the fig tree. But this is what I was saying before. This is going to continue. I'm not going to stop after these set verses. Instead, I'm going to go all the way through to the next one. So verse 12. Jesus curses the fig tree. On the following day, when they came from Bethany, he was hungry. seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf. He went to see whether perhaps he would find anything on it. When he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. He said to it, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard it. The next section. Jesus cleanses the temple. Then they came to Jerusalem, and he entered the temple and began to drive out those who were selling and those who were buying in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. And he would not allow anyone to carry anything through the temple. He was teaching and saying, "It is not written, my house shall be called, is it not written, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations? But you have made it to a den of robbers." And when the chief priests and the scribes heard it, they kept looking for a way to kill him, for they were afraid of him, because the whole crowd was spellbound by his teachings. And when evening came, Jesus and his disciples went out of the city. These two sections are very important here. These two sections aren't something that just seems to be one story and then just something completely different. No, these two flow into each other. So with the fig tree, Jesus is acting out of God's judgment on spiritually fruitless region, especially in the temple system. Jesus is hungry. He sees a fig tree with leaves from a distance. He goes to it, no figs. He says, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." Now that sounds harsh until we see what Mark is doing here. Mark tells the story in 3 parts: the fig tree curse, the temple cleansed, and the fig tree withered. We'll get to that last one after this. This section is the fig tree explains the temple explains the fig tree. They interpret each other. It is not the season for figs, so why expect fruit? Fig trees often produce early edible buds before the main season. If a tree full of leaves, it should have at least signs of life. This tree had appearance but no reality. In scripture, fig trees often symbolize Israel. Jeremiah chapter 8:13, "No figs on the trees. Leaves are withered." Hosea 9:10, Israel compared to early fruits on a fig tree. Micah 7:1, "No early figs is spiritual barrenness." So when Jesus curses a fig tree, Jewish readers hear, this is about God's people. Now connect it to the temple. Right after this, Jesus cleanses the temple. The temple had sacrifices, priests, crowds, religious activity, but it lacked justice, true prayer, and openness to the nation. It lacked genuine faith. Like the fig tree, the leaves equals the religious appearance, and the fruit is spiritual reality. The system looks alive, but produces nothing that God desires. Why curse? This isn't personal anger. This is prophetic judgment, like Jeremiah smashing a pot, like Ezekiel lying on his side, and like Hosea marrying Gomer. Prophets sometimes act out messages. Jesus, as a prophet king, is declaring judgment has begun. And historically, the temple was destroyed in 70 AD. This moment signals a shift. The story isn't just about ancient Israel. Instead, it asks, do we look spiritually alive but lack fruit? Do we perform religious but lack transformation? Do we have leaves without figs? Jesus isn't impressed by leaves. Instead, he looks for fruit. And on to the next section. This is the lesson from the withered tree. In the morning, as they passed by, they saw the fig tree withered away to its roots. Then Peter remembered and said to him, "Rabbi, look, the fig tree that you cursed has withered." Jesus answered them, "Have faith in God. Truly I tell you, if you say to this mountain, 'Be taken up and thrown into the sea,' and if you do not doubt in your heart, but believe that what you say will come to pass, it will be done for you. So I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Whenever you stand praying, forgive if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father in heaven may also forgive your trespasses." When the old fruitless system falls, real connection with God is through faith, prayer, and forgiveness. The withered tree isn't just judgment, it's transition. "Rabbi, look, the fig tree you cursed has withered, not just wilted." Dead from the roots, the judgment Jesus symbolizes is decisive. The temple system looks strong, but spiritually it's already collapsing. Have faith of God, or faith in God. Right after judging the temple, Jesus says the center is no longer a building. Trust in God Himself, not religious structures. This is huge. Access to God is shifting. Whoever says that to this mountain, "Be taken up and thrown into the sea," this mountain likely refers to the mountain that they are standing on, the Temple Mount. So in context, Jesus may be saying even this massive religious system can be removed by God. It's not just generic positivity. It's about God overturning what seems unshakable. Faith trusts God can do what humans think is impossible. Whatever you ask in prayer, believe. Under the old system, you went to the temple through priests, through sacrifices. Now, Jesus points to direct prayer. The relationship is becoming a person to God through faith. The temple was a meeting place, and now it is not needed anymore. The next section is Jesus' authority is questioned yet again. Verse 27. Again they came to Jerusalem. As he was walking in the temple, the chief priests and scribes and elders came to him and said, "By what authority are you doing these things? Who gave you this authority to do them?" Jesus said to them, "I will ask you one question. Answer me, and I will tell you by what authority I do these things. Did the baptism of John come from heaven, or was it of human origin? Answer me." They argued with one another. "If we say from heaven," he will say, "why then did you not believe him? But shall we say of human origin?" They were afraid of the crowd, for all regarded John truly as a prophet. So they answered Jesus, "We do not know." And Jesus said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I am doing these things." The religious leaders challenged Jesus' authority, but their refusal to seek truth exposes their spiritual blindness. This isn't an honest question, it's a power struggle. By what authority are you doing these things? Who gave you this authority? These things are the triumphal entry, the temple cleansing, and the teaching publicly. Who do you think you are? This is about control. They see Jesus acting like the temple belongs to him. Authority in Judaism comes from priestly lineage, rabbinic training, official recognition. Jesus has none of that, and yet he acts like a prophet, like a king, and the judge of the temple. Because his authority comes from God directly. But they admit that. But if they admit that, they lose power. Jesus responds like a rabbi. I'll ask you one question. Was John baptism from heaven or from men? This is a brilliant question because John the Baptist publicly pointed to Jesus, said Jesus was greater, prepared the way for him. So if they say from heaven, they must accept Jesus. And if they say from men, the crowd turns on them. What will it cost us? Their concern isn't truth. It's reputation and control. This is spiritual blindness in action. We don't know, not because of lack of evidence, but because they refuse to commit. Jesus says, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things," because you can't receive the truth you've already decided to reject. This scene reveals something great about the leaders here. Fear people more than God, care about status over truth, spiritually fruitless like the fig tree, but about Jesus, know their hearts, operates with divine authority, and refuses to play political games. They challenge his authority because he just acted like the true Lord of the temple. Again, this chapter is Jesus revealing the kind of king he is, the kind of leader that he is, the Messiah that he is. He is here not to rule with an iron fist, not to rule with power, but to rule with humility, but to rule by serving. Jesus isn't power hungry, but he is hungry for people. He wants to bring people to the kingdom. He wants to save the lives. He doesn't want to save his legacy. He wants to save other people's lives. Jesus is a son of God. The glory that he does gets sent to God. Jesus is one with the Father, as we see time and time, as Jesus claims through the authority that he claims, through the actions that he claims. Jesus is one with the Father. If he can do the visible physical things that everyone agrees that only God the Father can do, then surely he can do the invisible things that only God can do. And in this, he is doing the physical thing, the visible thing of bringing people together to do the invisible thing of saving lives and changing their destiny of eternal damnation into eternal life. Jesus is here for us. Jesus is here to save us. This is the new Exodus. Just as Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt and out of the desert into the promised land, Jesus is leading the Jews out of this old way of life, and he's even leading us now into this kingdom of heaven. Jesus is here to save us. And Jesus, in this chapter, declares the king he is, a servitude king, a loving king, a forgiving king. He's here for you. And with that being said, that is chapter 11. Mark chapter 11. We have 5 more to go until the series is over. 5 more, 5 left. And I pray that throughout this time, throughout these next 5 videos, that there's something great that is received. That there's something that is received through this, something that is new, that is transformative in your life. I pray that as we go through this, as these videos come out, you don't just listen to these, but instead it inspires you to go dig into it. To look at the original text, to look at the original words of meaning, and to see how they relate to the scriptures and to what we have. And I pray that you're able to connect that to your own life, that you're able to connect the teachings that Jesus has in this into your own life. And with that being said, I pray that you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Come back for tomorrow for Mark chapter 12. And with that, have a great rest of your guys' day. See you tomorrow.